Buenos dias.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Run with Julia, but it's Run with Julia and Jane, or maybe we're not running. Maybe we've got a lot of stories to tell you. But what we are going to do is I'm going to do some strides. So Jane's going to picture me striding, and are we going to run at all?
Well, I'm not going to be doing any strides, put it that way. So I'm going to happily film whilst you do those. But who knows?
Who knows? We might do a little bit of running at the end. We're going to talk about not running. We've got a few stories about not running. But I'll do a few strides and then we'll sit down and
Not run.
Not run. So I did my strides.
Very good.
Jane told me that Red Rum, do you remember Red Rum, everybody? Red Rum, the horse racer. He won the Grand National and he trained in the sand.
He did. Yep. He used to run on the sand. That's how they got his legs like iron. And he won 3 Grand Nationals, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I remember the one in 1974 we decided, because my dad dreamt that Red Rum was going to win the Grand National. And he was a man of kind of did sensible things, and he produced me, which was a little bit of a kind of enigma to him. So he put a sensible amount of money on.
And he went on and won.
And he went on and won.
Brilliant.
But he then produced a daughter who did many unsensible things, as far as from his perspective. he actually, my brother said, and my sister said, that my dad was often, his thing was, what's Julia going to do next? Probably still thinking that. But so Jane, we're going to talk about, are we in the right position here?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all our experiences of not running together.
There have been quite a few. And some of them, I've not run because of you, but not even with you.
Yeah, there was one where I was all keen to run the Barcelona 10K, which is a wonderful race that happens just as the sun is setting on New Year's Eve. And I then got an upslip. I tripped on a paving stone and got an upslip in my pelvis and couldn't really run at all, could I?
I don't know if you could even hardly walk. You were pretty,
I was pretty injured. And I remember sitting in the car with Jane, because we were both going to Barcelona together to meet Malcolm, Run with Crazy. You hadn't run with Crazy, running Crazy.
That's what Malcolm found when I got there. So I didn't really run.
Malcolm, we were both going. You hadn't met Malcolm.
No, I hadn't met Malcolm.
And I remember sitting in the car with Jane and saying, Jane, I don't actually want to go.
Yeah, and I said something like, oh, but don't you just want to come for the fun? And you were like, no, I wanted to run. But no, I'm not. I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
I just didn't want to go. I was so injured, and I think then I'd trained a lot, and I just felt that I didn't want to go and watch a race I wasn't running in. Even though I'd gone with lovely you.
No, well, fair enough.
Anyway, but I said, well, you can go. So Jane went off to a running crazy trip on her own,
intending not to run.
And so what happened?
So, well, I love the first thing I heard from Malcolm was he said, Julie said, it's all right, Malcolm will meet you at the airport. Well, I got a phone call and Malcolm went, are you under the horse? And I was like, what horse? Where? What horse where? I had no idea about the horse. So I wasn't in the right place at all.
You hadn't read her instructions?
No, I hadn't read any of her
instructions.
instructions.
What Malcolm does, and I know one reads his instructions, but honestly, he does these amazing instructions, and he puts them in a wonderful laminated plastic thing, and we don't read them. And then he's forever spending the weekend answering our questions. And so James hadn't read.
Not only was I not under the horse, I wasn't even in the right terminal of the airport. So that was very, very funny. But anyway, then I met Malcolm and he looked after me. And I had a lovely weekend not running, with running crazy.
And me, Julia in Eastbourne.
Yeah, in Eastbourne. It was an absolute laugh.
And then the other time was when you didn't run with me, not even with me there, was the Medoc Marathon. When I was meant to be going with Simon, who was my friend, and for some reason I wasn't going. And so I sent Jane, who didn't know Simon
I'd never
that
met
well.
Simon.
Oh, had you not met him then? No,
Had I met him?
You've met him in the restaurant.
Oh, I met him once, briefly, very briefly, for like not very long. And Ju said, well, does Simon want to go with me? Ju said, we'll go with Simon. And I went, well, does Simon want to go with me? He doesn't know me. She went, well, here he is on the phone. So I said, hello, Simon. And he went, hello, Jane. And then I said, do you want to go to the Murdoch Marathon then? And he went, yeah, I don't mind. And he went, do you want to go with me? And I went, yeah, I don't mind. And then we drove 9 hours to Bordeaux. So we got to know each other in the car.
I can't remember why I couldn't go, but I thought it seemed a silly thing given I'd entered this marathon and I had all the travel and the hotel booked, and I thought it seemed silly not to use it, so I sent James.
So I didn't. That's my personal best, I think. My personal best time for not running the Murdoch Marathon. I think I didn't run it in about an hour and 4 minutes, which is unheard of. Normally it takes a lot longer than that to not run a marathon. So
I think you even didn't make the start.
We didn't make the start,
I remember
which
that.
is something of a bone of contention, really, because we were aiming to be there at the start, and then we didn't get there. It was very funny.
So those
hence the reason I got my personal best time, probably, because I missed a bit of it.
Probably. Because you were driving around it, weren't you? Wasn't there wine at every stop?
Oh, the Murdoch Marathon's brilliant in that they run through the vineyards, and they stop and have Premier Coup Plus. I mean, I don't drink wine, so it's a bit lost on me, but the idea of it.
Simon's a sommelier. Perhaps that's how it all began, that Simon and I were going.
Yeah, maybe. Because they taste the wine as they go. They call it the longest marathon in the world because it takes people hours and hours because they get tiddlier and tiddlier as they're running. And I think one of the vineyards hosts a steak and onion lunch.
So I just saw a wave coming up. Sorry, I was listening, Jane. I just saw this wave.
I saw it too, at the corner of my eye. It's going to get us.
So those are two of the runs we didn't run, and I wasn't even there to not run them. But then we've had lots of occasions where Jane's not run the marathon or not run the race, but she has done the carbo loading. Because we went to Davos, I think Davos was the one where we did carbo loading all day, and we had all day to find out what it was, but we never did. In my defence, I was going out every month somewhere to run a race and writing about it for Running Free magazine. My editor, who you've met. She isn't my editor anymore, but she was then for Running Free magazine. And I think Jane and I, we met and flew out to Zurich.
Yeah, we flew to Zurich. Why were we in Zurich for so long? I don't know, because we were at least there at least a day. Weren't we?
I don't know. Why were we there so long? But we were in Zurich a long time.
Clearly to have 2 breakfasts.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons.
We have to say that Jane is an artist, and she loves art galleries and she loves museums, and so whenever I'm with her, even this morning, because I'm having a meeting, aren't I? And she's on an intensive, by the way. She's on an intensive workshop with me. But I've given her a free morning because I've got a meeting, and I said, there's a museum. There's a museum.
I haven't been.
Somewhere, and I found her on the beach. But we decided we should go to the cathedral in Zurich.
Yes.
So we had breakfast. Then we got in a taxi.
Yes.
And the taxi driver, it was pouring with rain, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, we got to the cathedral. We took one look out the window and it was still pouring, and we sort of hesitated and looked at each other and then went, should we just go back to that nice cafe and have another breakfast? So we asked the taxi driver if he could take us back. Is that right? It was something like that. And he took us back, and we turned up again, having just left.
And had
another breakfast.
And that was the time Simon, my friend Simon, was also my PA for about 4 years, wasn't he? And yes, that's how it all began in lots of ways. Anyway, he was my PA and my paid husband, we decided. But apart from the other husbandry things that people do, he did everything.
Yes.
Things like, I remember hitting a deer. No, I didn't hit a deer. The young man in front of me, we'll come back to Zurich, but a young man in front of me hit a deer at midnight when I was coming back from somewhere. And I stopped. The young man was totally shaken. And we didn't know what to do with this half-dead deer at midnight. So I called Simon.
Yeah, Simon
and
would
he had
know.
a number, and he had a person, and he had a thing, and he had everything.
Yeah.
So
Simon would always know about
Simon
everything.
knew everything.
Very good.
But so Simon had planned our trip to Davos.
He had.
And he told us the train to get on in Zurich.
To the 1426, I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Get on the 1426 to Davos. Right.
So we did. 1426 because we found a train that was going at 1426. We neglected.
1426.
Get on it. That's our train.
That's our train.
We neglected to look where it was going.
It wasn't going to Davos. And as we sat there going, is this going to Davos? This is going to Davos. Is this going to Davos? And everyone looked at us blankly and went, no. We were like, oh, oops. Now what do we do?
So we got off.
I think you said we call Simon.
Yeah, oh yes, I think we probably called Simon. And he said, what are you doing?
Get off the train.
That's right. I did call Simon.
We're on the wrong train. It is the 1426, but it's not going to Davos. What should we do? Get off.
I remember calling him another running free experience when I flew out to Alicante and I ran the penultimate marathon with someone who was running lots and lots of marathons for charity, and it was the penultimate one. And then I literally got there, ran the marathon, had to run, got back to the airport, and then I was sitting in Girona airport, and suddenly there was all that cancellado, chaos in the airport, and I sat quietly while chaos, because practically every plane has been cancellado, and I called Simon. I called Simon. But then we did actually get to Davos.
We did get to Davos, and that was also hilarious.
A lot of carbo loading, a whole day.
A whole day. In fact, it took about a day to find your number.
It took a day to find my number.
And carbo loading.
And then I looked at the thing and I said, I wonder what race I'm running. I knew it was a half marathon distance. And it said, what did it say?
It said varied terrain. And as we're going down in the train,
we didn't notice we were going down.
No, we didn't. We were just on the train going to the start of the race.
We were in a packed train, squished with lots of people, and we didn't realise the train was going
down quite steeply. We didn't notice that at all. And at one point you said, what do you think varied terrain means? And I went, in my wisdom, because obviously I know nothing about running at all, I went, I expect a bit of road, bit of pavement, maybe some verge, bit of rocky bit, I don't know, bit, not
varied.
Bit varied. And you were like, no problem. Anyway.
Me, an experienced runner of many years. Anyway, we got off. Oh, this tide it's Mediterranean tide, very subtle, but it does do things. We got off this train, we had coffee, and I went to the start, and
I went back up.
Yes.
And it's a funicular railway, which should have given us a clue, and it went up like this, and as it went up like that, I was like, this is quite steep, isn't it? It's quite like hilly. And I looked out the window and there were people already doing the marathon had started, and they were like holding on to bits of rope going around rocking things. I was like, but it's a bit more varied than I perhaps thought.
It was a very steep mountain race.
Yeah.
We started over a bridge, it's beautiful, quarter of a mile flat on tarmac. And then we went up. I actually ran very well. I think I was in about 8th position until the last bit, which went downhill, and then I lost about 5 positions, which is very typical. The last sort of 2 miles downhill and like 5 mountain goats, Swiss goats are brilliant. Running form, looking like they were tiptoeing over rocks as I'm going, ooh.
It was very rocky.
And then actually there was the time I did come out to Barcelona.
Yes, we did a New Year's Barcelona, ate grapes. That wasn't during the race.
Oh, no, we ate grapes at midnight.
We ate grapes at midnight.
With some people.
Is that the marathon?
Yeah, with some people. That was the 10K.
That was the 10K.
Yeah. When it chimes midnight.
That wasn't the one
you
where
eat a grape on every doing. You have to quickly eat them and make a quick wish. You've got to make 12 wishes.
Was that the one where I didn't have your coat?
Yes.
So I'm useless race accompanier. What was I doing? Talking to someone in a cafe.
And I was frozen, but to be fair, I probably hadn't exactly told you where I was going to be, but I was pretty cold because for some reason it was like Barcelona in January can be about 20 and amazing in the day, but properly chilly at night, and I was properly chilly, and eventually this family took me in a cafe.
That's how long I was absent with the clothing.
I was standing like a waif on the pavement. And eventually this Spanish family were in a cafe, all with nice warm things, drinks and they came out onto the pavement and they brought me into their family.
Did they get you a nice warm drink?
They gave me a nice drink and they covered me up.
That's good, isn't it? I have apologised, I have to say. I was very, very apologetic. I still am. It was a terrible thing.
It was
I'm
funny.
so sorry.
They always, the writer in me is always alive when there's things happening in, under the director, whenever things are happening in life, which might be going not the quite the same plan as you thought, but there's the writer in me, and the person that's going to dine out on it.
It's brilliant. That's good for the book.
For the rest of my
Good,
life.
yeah. And here we are.
Here we are. Where else have you not run with me, Jane?
I was going to say, where else have you not brought my coat?
was
Because that was another
Ealing?
one. Ealing. I didn't bring your coat there either. We had a phone confusion and a meeting up.
I do think that was in part to do with the fact that I didn't think that Ealing had so many train stations.
No, we
so
thought
to
there was
be
one.
fair, I'm sure that I was part of that. But I was sitting in a field for a long time.
Freezing. So I was running around going, well, I've gone left and I've gone left again, and I definitely can't see any of these.
Jane where to go left because I was directing her from the tube station that I'd come out of,
And I was at a
and
different
she'd
one.
come out of a different one. So I'm sure that was definitely my. Well, it's all my own responsibility.
No, I wasn't there.
Where else have you not run with me? There's been
London Marathon.
Oh, was that when I introduced you to Wendy?
Yes.
Oh, that
that's
was
right.
amazing. We'll make this our grand finale. We've got many, I'm sure.
we've got a lot
we can
more,
resume. But I'm just looking at the time of the video. Yes, we'll be our last
Last
one.
anecdote about not running.
I was on a bus going to the London Marathon, and I was about an hour from running the marathon, and I got a message from my friend Wendy going, Ju, I've decided to come up to the London Marathon, where do I go? I was like, where does Wendy go? I thought, Jane's very organised. Jane knows where she's going for the London Marathon. So they've never met, but I'm putting together people who've never met. So I got a hold of Jane and I said, would you mind if I put my friend Wendy in touch with you and you join forces and watch me run the London Marathon? And you were like, no, great. So because I said there's an app. I was trying to explain to Wendy there was an app and a thing, and I was like, oh no, just give Wendy to Jane. So I gave each other's phone numbers and I went off and started running my marathon. And I saw you. No, I didn't see you for 23 miles, did I? 20, I think
23
20,
miles.
21, 22.
I've got my head at 21,
Yeah, 21,
22.
22.
Yeah.
I was really in need of some shop blocks or Lucasade or something. Now the thing is that Jane and Wendy are both artists, must be said. They don't know the running term of fuel.
That's what Julia ran in the rain. She came over, she went fuel, and ran on.
Fuel.
And we were like, what do we do? I don't know. We need to get fuel. We need to get something. I mean, what we were thinking, that if Julia was at mile 21 in a marathon and we managed to get something, how were we going to get it to Julia before the end of 26 miles when we neither of us run faster or run that fast at all? Anyway, I don't know what we thought, but we ran around.
What did you get me?
I got chicken sandwiches and a Mars bar. I thought that's like good fuel, isn't it? When you're a bit depleted.
Which I obviously didn't see until the end of the race. I'm not sure what I thought you could do, to be honest. I think I thought maybe you could dot across with a Lucasade or something. I don't know what I thought, but again, we hadn't planned it. It was just seeing them there, their lovely shiny faces, and I was like, oh.
It was a hard moment in that run.
But I've always thought Jane was sort of shoving chicken sandwiches and Mars bars towards me at the end, and I was like, what's she giving me these for?
You need fuel. You need some fuel.
Well, actually then I did need fuel as well. So
Yeah, but not when you're running with a large sandwich. Can you imagine? What was I thinking?
well,
I know a bit more.
ultra running.
What, they run with a Mars bar?
Yeah, ultra running. You stop and eat and things.
It's a bit like the Med Doc Marathon then.
Yeah. So
Bottle of wine.
Jane, we always end our things with what have you learned?
Don't
What can
pick
you offer?
me to be the race companion, I think is what I've learned. So when I'm obviously running my marathon, I won't be picking me.
And what else? What advice would you offer anyone else who's going to not run a marathon with their
Well,
friends?
I think not training is very, very important for not running, because you don't want to accidentally run anywhere and have ruined your training. You know, I think it's very important to be clear about not training for a marathon. You don't want to ruin
Jane
that time.
actually does do some running. She does.
I think it's a bit like, you know, if a tree falls in a forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? The fact that no one's ever seen me running, do I actually do any?
And
all
on
to
that
be revealed.
note, thank you so much for not running.
Not running with Julia.
And Jane. Like and subscribe. Jane running. It's been seen.